Hi there, Highlander owners. Today in your 2017 Toyota Highlander, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install CURT's Class 3 2-inch trailer hitch receiver. And this is what our hitch is going to look like when it's installed. We'll only be able to see the receiver here at the back as the cross tube's hidden completely behind the bumper. It's a Class 3 2-inch by 2-inch receiver, so it's going to be great for all of your towing needs, whether you want to put a bike rack in here and load it up with some bikes to hit the trail, or if you want to hook up a small pop-up camper and go out for the weekend. It uses a 5/8 inch hitch pin and clip. One doesn't come included with the hitch, but we have plenty available at etrailer.com here. On bottom, we have hoop-style safety chain loops with a nice large opening that should accommodate just about every shape, size, and style of safety chain. It features a 500-pound tongue weight, which is the force going down on top of the receiver, which is more than enough for a 4-bike platform rack fully loaded up with 4 bikes, or a cargo carrier nearly loaded up to the max. Few of the cargo carriers out there do have weight capacities close to 600 pounds, so it would be a little more than what this could handle. It also features a 5,000-pound gross towing capacity, which is how much that it can pull behind it. And with that, you should have no problem taking a pop-up camper with you, or if you need a medium or small size utility trailer to do some work, you could also get that done as well. Now I've got some measurements for you to help you when deciding on accessories. From the center of the hitch pinhole to the edge of the rear bumper, it measures about 1 inch. And this is important when determining if any of your folding accessories can be placed in the upright storage position without contacting the bumper. And from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube, it measures about 15 3/4 inches. This is important when determining if you need a drop, rise, or raise shank on any of your accessories. Here you can see our hitch from the side angle, so you will notice that the receiver does stick out past the bumper, so you just want to keep that in mind and be careful when walking by it. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let's go over the installation together so you can have the confidence to do it at home. We'll begin our installation underneath the vehicle on the driver's side by removing the under shield that's over here. There are 2 push pins we're going to be taking out here and here using our flat-bladed screwdriver. There's a small slot all the way around it, so just pick one of those slots to put your screwdriver in and then twist it to pop out the center tab. Sometimes you have to come in from both sides because dirt and debris does make these tabs stick a little bit, and then being exposed to the elements also makes them quite brittle. So if it doesn't want to go, just try the other side, because they are very fragile and they will break. We'll then need to remove the bolts on the underside. There's 3 of those. We'll use a 10mm socket to do so. We'll then grab a 13mm to remove the 2 plastic nuts found towards the inside. And when you take these out, they don't really want to come off when you take them down, so you got to give a little bit of pressure. So just kind of slightly pull down as you're undoing the bolt. We're going to do the same thing with this one. And then we can pull our panel out and set it aside. On each side of the vehicle, from your fascia, you'll have a piece that comes out and a tab that holds it in place. We're going to pop this tab out on each side as we're going to be removing this piece completely here. We're just going to be cutting this off. We can then trim these off. We're just going to use a pair of snips to do so. So we're just going to cut across. We're going to do that to the one on the other side as well. We'll also need to trim our deflector off here by our exhaust. That's also going to interfere with our hitch. On the passenger side, you may or may not have a tow hook there. If you do, you'll want to take that out using a 17mm socket. There's just the 2 bolts here holding it. We're We're then going to take out all the plugs located underneath the bottom side here. So we've got 5 on our driver's side. You'll have 5 on the passenger side. If you don't have a tow hook, if you have a tow hook, some of these are going to be covered up by the tow hook and they won't be present when you take the tow hook off. They do semi-unthread. You've got to be very gentle with them when you're unthreading them, because if you put any pressure on them, it wants to just thread right back up in there. So we'll just kind of get it started and then give them a gentle twist. And the plastic ones will pop out of there. The rubber ones you can just pry out of there with your screwdriver. And we're going to be using the holes with weld nuts in them to attach our hitch. You may also have a bracket located on the passenger side at the front here. So if you don't have a plastic pin in here, we'll need to remove this bracket as well. It's held on by a bolt. Use a 17mm socket to remove it. And then we'll also use a 10mm socket to remove the small bolt where it attaches it to the under shield. We can then slide this out and set it aside. Now with the next set of hands, we're going to work our hitch in up over the exhaust. And we'll take the bolts that come included with our kit, place a conical tooth washer on it with the teeth facing towards the hitch, and get 1 bolt started on each side. Once you've got 1 started on each side, the hitch will hold itself up, making it easier to install the rest of your hardware. Once you've got the rest of your hardware installed, we can go back and tighten it down using a 19mm socket. We can then go back and torque all of our hardware to the specifications found in our instructions. We'll now need to trim our under shield before it'll fit back on. We'll need to trim the back to clear, which is actually towards the front of the vehicle. And we'll also need to trim off this section here. You'll find diagrams in your instructions, but I've gone ahead and marked it out so you can see where I'm going to be cutting. You can use the snips just like we did to cut the other ones, but due to just the weird shape and ribs inside of it, it makes it kind of difficult. So I'm going to be using a cutoff wheel to just go a little faster. Now that we've got that side cut out, we'll cut out the back. And we're just going to take our file now and just knock off those rough edges. We can then reinstall our under shield. Just work it back in place and reinstall your hardware. With our panels back in place, we're now ready to load up our favorite accessories and hit the road. And that completes our installation of CURT's Class 3 2-inch trailer hitch receiver on our 2017 Toyota Highlander.